this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I'm trying to keep an average of one repot or mount per day until I've finished, until there aren't any more, or I get some new plants. Now some days I'll do half a dozen because I'm in the mood, and other days I'll struggle to even get the stuff out and do one. But I thought I'd have a go at this little bulbophyllum. And this time we won't catch our finger on anything and bleed. Right, we have the scissors soaking in Jack Daniels, yeah I wish, also known as 70% rubbing alcohol. And quite honestly that's all I need for now, and I probably won't even need the scissors. This is a tiny little plant. It's a miniature bulbophyllum, it's just not going to grow much bigger than that, and it's not a rambler. And this is Sikimensi on a lolly stick. Wonder where that came from. And I'm going to have a go at using Oliver's homemade mounts with media. Yeah, so it works like a mount but has the depth of media in it, so that roots have got more to get into than just a bare piece of wood with a little tiny bit of moss on, which I think will suit a bulbophyllum quite well. The only thing I will change is that hook won't be very good in my environment because I won't be able to get hold of the places where I want it to go. So I will actually attach a piece of wire onto that. But yeah, we can fill that up with some small bark and some moss, and then put a little bit of moss on the outside which I can tie on until the plant gets its proper hold. Otherwise it won't stay there basically. So let's play what's in my pot. Anything from next to no roots to some. Plonked on the top of the pot again. I mean, there's no way, if that plant had been in that pot a while, the roots would have been down in the media, wouldn't they? They're just sat on the top. So it's just been plonked on the top. But it's got some root. Oh God, look. You can't bury pseudobulbs like that, they just rot. Come on, you guys. Supposed to be orchid people. At least have a clue. Anyway, most of this will come off under the tap. I haven't got to take too much off really. There's a little bit of old moss tucked in there which will wash out, that'll be okay. And any buried pseudobulbs can be disposed of. I mean, that's really what you're after, is pseudobulbs that are starting to extend, which will then push a new root system out. So if that's touching the media, it'll do just that. And there's a lot of new growths on here. There's one in the middle there. There's this one. That's not that old. There's a new one here. New one here. Another new one there. And a new one there. So there's plenty of new growths on it. And there's plenty of old growths to support those new growths until they make their own root systems. That's individual bulb level, because that's how the roots come out of these. Each bulb produces its own little self-supporting root system, but because it's got rhizomes, the rest of the plant can support them while they grow, because they tend to push their roots out as the bulbs mature. Yeah, there's a couple of old parts of the plant I may trim off. Certainly that one's got to go. It'll just fall off because it was buried, so it's just rotted. That's what happens. That silly little thing there is serving no purpose. What I'm after is a flat base. Yeah, if I'm going to mount it, I need it to go flat, and I need as many of those new growths in a position where they can get to some media. So it's probably going to go that way up, sort of like that. Yeah, against the mount like that. So I'll just give that a quick rinse and turn some H2O2 into H2O. You should know what I mean by now. Yeah, that doesn't need much done to it at all. I'm quite pleased with that. And then I'll get the mess out of the way and come back with some media and some wire and some tying fishing line and all the paraphernalia one needs to do a mount. A little bit extra this time because it's a different mount. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, I presume you've all seen this sort of stuff before. It comes in a pack like that. This is a New Zealand brand, premium New Zealand sphagnum moss and all that sort of stuff, but it comes out dry as dust. And obviously the first thing you need to do, because if you use it like that in amongst other media, sometimes it can be a bit of a pig to actually get wet. So it needs a good soak. Yeah, it needs a good couple of minutes soak at least. Some would say a good 5 minutes soak, but it needs a soak to completely hydrate. And it's a bit like the bark really, I find with this brand anyway. For a couple of weeks it does dry quite quick, and then after that it tends to hold its moisture a bit longer. So we'll leave that to soak for a minute while I sort this wire out. And so did the washing this morning and put all the towels in. So we have to get an old one out. Right, all I want to do really is just put a piece of wire inside, out through the top with my hook on, which I like my hooks away from the mount so that I can adjust heights a lot easier, and then just twist it up and tie it. So we'll just do that quickly. Don't need a huge amount, it's not going to be a long hook. More than enough, far too much. Okay, now the idea is to go in about there, halfway up, and then come out there, and that's where my hook will be, up there. And then all I really need to do is just bend that at that point, and I won't be able to pinch that with the pliers because the netting's in the way. Actually I might be able to, it would be good if I could. I can just get the pliers inside and outside, I can pinch that tight. Gotcha! I'll do. Cut the long end off because I don't need that. That's it, and then all I've got to do is bend that round to form my hook when I'm ready. I won't do it yet, so that's that. Right. Let's get some, actually let's have a bit more coffee. Right, I'll go and get some bark and start mixing up some moss and some bark. Okay, I'm only using small bark. It's a miniature, it's got a very fine root system, and they like to stay moist, so I don't need loads of air spaces and all that sort of stuff. With a mount like that, you can't really get much more air around your root system than that, can you? I mean, there's air coming in from all sides. They're brilliant. I love those. You can check out the channel, Oliver's Greenhouse, and have a look at young Oliver. One of his videos shows him actually making those, and there's lots of hot glue involved. I do remember that from watching it. Which means obviously it needs a glue gun, which I don't have. Maybe a future investment. Put it down on the present list or something. Okay, it's not terribly important to get this really small because it's going inside a mount. You know, if there's a few long strands dangling around, I don't want bits of grass in there if I can help it. You do get some odd things in this moss. The one thing I don't like in this moss, because of what I do with it, you can see I'm gripping it quite hard and tearing it, and occasionally I've come across some very long thorns, you know, off some sort of thorn bush I would say, and they go straight in your finger, they're razor sharp, and they automatically break off at the tip, and then they fester and go all yucky, and then eventually it comes out, sometimes with some help. But it's just, it really catches you unawares because you can't see them, but you certainly feel the little tykes. I've had that happen several times, so it's not like a one-off. Right, I know what I haven't done. I haven't left myself enough moss to go on the outside of the mount just for the plant to sit on. All this lot's going inside. So let me just get another little bit in soak just to go on the outside for the plant to sit on. That won't need a lot. because most of the roots I'm hoping will go straight in to the mount. So I'll just put a little bit more in. That can be soaking while we're filling the mount up. That sounds strange. I'm going to fill my mount up. It just doesn't sound right, does it? Well, that's what I'm going to do. Right, you can soak while we fill the mount up. Literally what I'm going to do. And the plant's not going in this, you know, so all I've got to do is get this in there. Pack it down. I've got a clue how much it's going to hold. I haven't done one before. But it's going to go in quite tight. That I do want to do so that the, you know, the roots will be going into what they will think is a pot. They just happen to be a vertical pot. I mean, with these things or something along these lines, you can fill them up as much as you like. They'll swell outwards to get quite a deep mix in the middle. You don't have to fill them right up to the top if you don't want. I think they're brilliant. I really do. I just hope they water well. That I haven't tried yet. Right, that'll do. Some no air holes. And I suppose when I'm watering it, I'll just pour the water over it the same as I would a normal mount. We shall see. But there's a good amount of moss in there. You can see there's a good smattering of moss all the way through the mount, and as a consequence the media will stay quite moist, which it is a bulbophyllum, you know, they do like their moisture. So well, that wasn't a bad guess, was it? That'll do, I think. I don't really need to go right up to the top, or it's only going to fall out every time I move it, so that'll do nicely. Hope it all don't come out the holes because it is small bark. Right, that's that bit done. See, now this is the bit I'm getting at. When I turn this over now to put the moss and the plant on the front, I've got a feeling a lot of it's going to come out the top. Let's see if we can just lean it slightly. Actually, we could lean it on the glass with the scissors in. Funny, I put those scissors in to soak. I just had a feeling on this plant I wouldn't need them. I'm not going to attempt to trim the roots. I see no point. Most of the roots that are there look okay, but what I haven't done is clean the plant up. I'll just go and do that and come back again. Okay, let's see what we can do. Do you know, I was just spraying that with the hydrogen peroxide and it suddenly dawned on me that huge anosmum that I did, that had very recently been imported. So the idea is you're killing off any bugs and bugs' eggs and things like that. That might have had alien bugs and alien bugs' eggs in it, as in non-European, you know. They'd have been here without a permit. But I would imagine they get well and truly inspected and cleaned before they leave. And hopefully, again when they arrive, just in case it wasn't done properly when they left. We certainly don't want alien bugs getting a hold. We've got alien plants in this country, several of which are getting well out of hand. So much so that councils have got eradication programs. They go around with flamethrowers and things, and no, I'm not mucking about. Japanese knotweed is one. It takes over, and there's nothing, no predators in this country. There's nothing eats it. Nothing predates it in any shape or form, so it runs rampant. It shouldn't be here, along with grey squirrels and Canada geese. No insult to Canada, but it's all in the name, you know. You keep your blinking geese to yourself. Again, Canada geese are so big compared with our native and winter visitor geese that they eat them out of house and home, literally. You know, they come in huge flocks. Now, they haven't come from Canada, they were brought here and escaped. Right, so that's going to have to go flat for a minute. It's probably going to fall off till I get a tie on. And I'm going to have to tie over the top of the pseudobulbs and in between the rhizomes, or it just won't stay there. So let's see what we can do. I reckon this is going to be more difficult than my normal mount. Two reasons. I haven't done one before, so it's a first. So you can watch me make a fool of myself. and secondly because I haven't got the same sort of surface for the plant to sit on and the moss. I haven't got all those gnarly bits to help me. I could do this differently, couldn't I? In fact, I probably will have to. But the first loop's going to be a standard loop for me, and then what I might actually do is no, it's not going to go in there because of the sponge. It's just going to have to try and hang on there the best it can. It's only until the plant gets a hold, then this can come off, literally. Right, where are we going to go then? Actually, I could do with that plant a little bit lower because it's probably going to go upwards. I'll give it more room. Yeah, it'll come down about there. Right, I'm going to go in about there. I'm going in. There we go. With my third hand, I'll try and hold that still while this gets a grip. And then once that's done, I can have a go. Okay, that's not very tight. Come on, grab. That's a bit better. Right. There's a loose one there, we'll go over that one, and I think we'll go over, oh that's a new growth, I can't go over that. I'll probably slice it. Oh, there's so much more to get caught up on. Where else am I going to go? There's a new growth there. Half the media's falling out the top, but it'll poke back in. So it's not actually the end of the world. Trying to get in between those two. That's not bad. Right, how are we doing? How firm is that? It's not bad. It's only a couple of loops. I'm going to put another one round. In fact, what I'll do is hold that with my little finger for a moment and just put a little bit more moss around the base of those roots and then put a loop round it to hold it there. Because there's more roots there than anywhere else, and there's actually a few at the top too. I mean, a few aerial roots is not the end of the world, but it's better if they're in something. They do branch. Right, well, that little finger did that job nicely, didn't it? Right, that should hold that bit of moss in place, and then I'm going to put another piece around the top to hold that moss in place. Now that's it. That's all it's going to get. I think it's firm enough. So I was trying to check. Yeah, I think that's okay. Now all we need to do is turn it upside down and tie it off without the whole lot falling off. I've got far too much here. That's better. Tying knots with great long ends is a pain, especially when you've got slightly wet hands. Right. Through there. Need something to bind onto. Yeah, that first loop is loose. I'm going to tighten that. Little trick I'll show you. Might not work as well as I'd like it to, but if you end up finishing like this and you've got lots of strands like that, and you can see that one is just loose, what you can do is thread your end underneath everything, which is, see now if this was a piece of bark this would be as easy as hell, but it's going to go under the wire, so it's not going to be easy to do. I probably won't be able to do it. No, I won't. No. Oh well, that one will just have to be loose. Let's see if I can find a way of tightening it. There we go. If I go down and catch a little bit of this somehow, I can get it, poke it in there, it's trying to get it out again. But nothing to grab hold of. Pliers. All I'm after is just catching hold of that end to pull it out. Oh, I knew this was going to be fiddly, but as I say, a lot of this is because I haven't done it before, so I'm, you know, not knowing what I'm about to get. But now I can pull that loose thing tight, yeah, and then just tie again. Remember what I said, this is slippy now and it's trying to pull back against what I want to tie against. So instead of just putting one loop, do two. And then when you pull it, it'll stay there. And that's just tightened it up a bit. Right, make sure it's good. Loose ends off. Now this has got a label on the side already stuck on for me to write on, which at the moment I won't bother doing simply because I know what it is. It's the only bulbophyllum that's on a mount. And then we can put all the media back in the top that fell out. And that's it. A few bits of moss have come off. I'll just poke them in the top. They'll be fine. So there we go, we've got roots covered nicely around the bottom and tied in place. All the other roots are at the base of the plant, straight into that moss, and any new growths that push out new roots will go straight through the moss because it's not a thick layer, but they'll have something to get into, and then they'll get straight into the media behind where they've got some substance to grab hold of. So there we go, that's what was it again? Bulbophyllum something. Where's me oh, my lolly sticks in the trash. Sicky-mency, I think it was. Yeah, they look quite good. I think I'd probably still prefer my bark, but my bark can't have media. So, you know, this serves a purpose. So there we go, using one of Oliver's homemade mounts. As I said, if you want to see how they're done, if you go over to Oliver's greenhouse and find the appropriate video, it's got a suitable title, it's not rocket science, I'm sure you'll find it. And then you can see him making one, and I think he's got several videos where he's actually used them as well, so you can see an expert doing it rather than somebody doing it for the first time. But yeah, and hopefully that plant will spread now. It's got lots of new growths coming now, and hopefully each one of those will produce a new growth later in the year once it produces its roots. So we could get, you know, half as big again in a year, you never know. We'll see how it goes. Okay, thanks for dropping by, see you next time.